In this lecture, we are going to talk about industrial product cycle. So what do you mean by industry product cycle? Industry product cycle is nothing but the sequence of operations which are involved in design of product to manufacture of product and sending the product out into the market. So what are all the steps or different stages that are involved from designing a product to the end manufacturing of the product and sending out? This all steps comes under industrial product cycle. So this industry product cycle consists of two main phases. One is the design phase, second one is the manufacturing phase. So this design phase is again divided into number of steps which start from design need identification and end with design documentation stage. Then the manufacturing phase starts from process planning and ends at packaging of this particular end product. Now coming to the design phase. So in the design phase we have multiple steps. So the first step is nothing but the design need, second step is the design specifications, and third step is feasibility study. So now what is design need? Design need is nothing but, let us say you want to design a product named X. So you need to go into the market and study whether there is a need for the product named X in the market or not. And once you have determined that there is a need for that product X in the market, then you will change to second stage or come to second stage where you are going to define the specifications of this design or product X. So for example, if you want to say example specifications like this should be the dimensions of the product, or the weight of the product should be under 1 kg or 2 kg, likewise what is the functionality of the product X, you will define all those things in the design specification stage. And once you completed the design specification stage, the next stage is called as a feasibility study with the collection of information stage. So what is feasibility study? So there are a number of types of feasibility studies like economic feasibility, manufacturing feasibility, design feasibility, and other lot of feasibility studies. So we'll take the example of an economic feasibility. So what is economic feasibility? Let us suppose I am going to design this product named X, and then I am going to produce it and then sell it to the consumers. Then as a company I will try to see whether I can produce enough number of products at very low cost and sell them at a nice profit or not to large amount of consumers, so that whatever the time and cost that I have incurred while designing the product as well as manufacturing the product are going to be recovered or not. So this is one example of a feasibility study which is related to economics. Likewise, a number of other types of feasibility studies also will be there. And once the company has finished all the feasibility studies that it wanted to study and then thinks the product X can be feasibly prepared or manufactured, then they will go to the design conceptualization phase, and let us say this is the fourth stage in the design phase of industry product cycle or industrial product cycle. Now in the design conceptualization stage, what we are going to do is we are going to simply translate whatever the ideas that are there in our brain into a computer using the softwares called CAD softwares, which are nothing but computer aided design softwares. So what will happen here, whatever the thoughts that we are having in the brain, we will try to translate them into a virtual product inside the computer so that we can feel it, how the form and how the shape of the product or the design might be. So once we create the CAD models, the next stage is to analyze those models. Once we analyze the models, what will happen is we are going to filter out all the unnecessary features, or we are going to filter out all the unwanted parts. So analysis of the model, it may be static analysis, it may be contact analysis, or assembly analysis, interface analysis. There are lots of types of analysis that a particular person can perform on a product, but it will be based on what is the end functionality of the product. And this is the first stage where concept of CAE, or let us say computer aided engineering softwares, comes into role in the design process. So this is where CAE softwares are used, and once the analysis of this particular model is done, based on the analysis results, we are going to finalize the entire design. Here also we will be using CAD softwares here. So once we have finalized the entire design, then what we will do is we will one more time perform the design analysis, and then we will try to optimize the design. So optimizing design means keeping all the constraints constant. What we will do is we will try to improve the design through the process of optimization. And once we are done with the optimization phase, we are going to go to the design evaluation phase. And in the design and analysis optimization phase also, we are going to use a lot of computer aided engineering softwares, that are CAE softwares. And once this is done, the next stage of design evaluation, we are going to prepare physical prototypes and perform experimentation and see whether the product X is going to work according to our requirements or not. And if it is going to work, then we are going to finalize the design. And this is also the time where we are going to use the CAE softwares for advanced analysis of the experimental results as well. So this is another stage where we can use CAE softwares. And once this particular stage is done, then we are going to go to the design documentation stage, where extensive use of CAD will be done, computer aided design softwares will be done. And using this computer aided design softwares and other softwares, lot of documentation regarding the design, as well as a 2D drafting documentation, which will help manufacturing persons to produce the part physically, will be produced in this particular stage. And once this stage is done, the next stage is called as a process planning stage. This is the stage where extensive use of computer aided manufacturing softwares will come into play, right? So this process planning stage will include different steps like production planning, how to produce a part, at what levels a part should be produced, etc., type of things, and design and procurement of new tools. So if there is any requirement for specific type of tools that have to be developed for producing the product or not, or we can use the existing tools or not, all these things will be decided in this phase. As well as materials, what materials to order, what materials to acquire, everything will be decided. And then CNC programming and C programming, all these type of things will be done in the process planning stage. And once this particular process planning stage is completed, then the next thing is the direct production. And once this production is done, they will go through the quality control. So whatever the products that we are going to produce in the production, they will go through the quality control. And in this stage, what happens, we will see whether the product that we produced physically is able to meet our quality standards or not. And if once the product is going to pass the quality standards specified by us, then what will happen is it will go into the packaging stage, where the product will be packaged in different materials and in different means, and then they will be shipped to the consumer. And once it is shipped to the consumer, the marketing people will take action and try to market and sell as many number of products as possible. And once these marketing people get feedback from the consumers as well as the sellers, so what will happen is we will try to use all that feedback in producing a new product, and this information will be fed again into the design need or design identification phase for a new product or improvement of the existing product. So this is what a basic industrial product cycle looks like. And remember, this is a very brief introduction of the entire design process. Sometimes for few products it may include some extra steps, or let us say repetition of steps may also be there. But this is what is an overview of the industrial product cycle.